time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Patrick Johnson Show. Still posted up in K-Town, Stay Down. Went to the game last night for the Wood Ducks, who took it on the chin. Not the Wood Ducks. God bless America. The Bird Dogs. They took it on the chin. But I went with the coach last night. And Pilk, you know this, as Philip the Rep Pilkey did is here, because you saw the coach. We had a nice visit as he came up after the show was over. Nothing like going to the ballpark with the old man. That's pretty special stuff. So anytime you can go watch a game with your dad, I highly recommend it, ladies and gentlemen. I highly recommend it. Nothing better. Nothing better. Great time last night. Got a bunch of text messages from different people about everything that we were doing. And a lot of people who listen to our show actually coming from Pitt County or surrounding areas to go to the game in Kinston last night. I think a lot of Pirate fans that were planning on going to watch baseball last night, but after the game was canceled mutually, did not. So they went and took in $2 ticket night. But Jeff Turner, who you hear on our sister station, 103.7 and 96.3 with the farm program on Mondays, was there. And Pilk, I want to get your opinion on this. Because the Big Hen was giving me a little bit of grievance. Jeff was very gracious to invite me to come into the owner's box. And I didn't go into the owner's box because I was on my way back up to where my dad and I were sitting. But we've worked it out, and I'm going to take a rain check. I really appreciate it. In fact, 2 of the owners invited me, but I didn't want to leave KJ hanging. So that was okay, right? That was fine.
Of course it's okay. No, you got to be a good son. You can't just leave your dad hanging at a ballpark. I mean, no.
Thank you for finally talking, because I wanted to take another bite of my lasagna. Finally, you speak.
Okay. I mean, hey, you want me to go on here and ramble? We can do it. Let's do it. I can ramble. What are you going to talk about?
Well, I'm just telling you. We've got to go to a game, a little field trip for the Patrick Johnson Show. Maybe we could invite some of our regular characters, Mike Mullis, yourself, obviously, the coach, and do a little guys' field trip there, because it's a great environment. And here's the other thing. You get used to watching a certain level of baseball, or even the collegiate level of baseball. And these guys are pros that were playing last night. I'm not talking low A pros. I'm talking guys who have been in professional baseball, some of them for quite a while. They look like men. I mean, I was almost like, God, these guys are huge. That field looks so small. It's because these guys are huge out there. I mean, they're like major professional athletes. It was really a scene, man. It was really
a lot of these guys have been at some point in their career to spring training. And when you go to spring training, that's full on pro ball weightlifting right there with pro ball strength coaches. That's it's that next step up we talk about, especially when these guys come back here, whether it be football, basketball, baseball. Oh, not basketball, maybe as much, but from playing, when you're a pro ball, how much bigger they look.
Yeah. Do we have interns in the house today, from what I understand?
Yes, we have Kayleen and Mary.
Intern Kayleen and intern Mary. And here's what I've learned about them in the first few minutes of the show here today. They don't shut up. So this is the thing I've picked up on that.
Put two 20-some-year-old girls in a room together. What do you expect?
No, tell them we have a very serious rule. No TikToking. No, we can't. We do not allow TikToking on the. I'm kidding. I'm just joking with them. I'm giving them some ha-has. But I do like that idea of no TikToking during the show. Can we do that? But that kind of defeats the purpose, from what I understand. Because these interns are going to be in charge of our social media. Is that
exactly? Correct? They're going to be. We're going to up the social media game. TikTok being one of them. So they might be doing some behind-the-scenes TikToking at some point. So they won't be listening. It'll be nothing that's loud, but who knows? Maybe some recording will be going on during the show.
Well, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. All right. I've not seen them today. And, Brian Mull's going to be with us. We're going to talk the PGA Championship with him. It starts tomorrow in suburban Philadelphia. So the second major of the golf calendar getting underway. Two-time caddy on the PGA Tour, a couple different decade-long stints, and golf writer extraordinaire Brian Mull to talk golf with us later on. Right now, top 5 at 5 on the Patrick Johnson Show.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
Ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Number one.
Alrighty, number one, little Pirate basketball news. It looks like all the scholarships have been filled as last night the Pirates picked up combo guard Trevor Best. He's originally a Wilson native, played at Word of God. He's played the last 2 seasons at Arizona State where he appeared in 29 games.
Not a big scoring punch guy. Seems like he could shoot it pretty well. I think he is a true backup kind of guard and could play backup either point or backup at the 2-guard spot. Local kids, so there goes that narrative thrown out the window as far as we don't like local kids. I think it's a great thing. I'm pretty excited about the fact that Coach Schwartz, at this juncture, Pilk, mid-May, appears to have his roster put together. And so I go back to what he said to me the other day. How do you like the roster? On paper, hell of a lot better than last year's roster.
Yeah. No, 100%. And look, I think at this point last year, hell, there might have only been 4 or 5 guys on the roster. But no, this roster looks like it's being put together in true college basketball form. It seemed like last year it was just kind of picking up the best available player who they thought at the time was the best available player and just hoping something stuck. I mean, I think we can legit sit here on May the 13th and say, what does the depth chart look like at the guard position, at the forward position, and at the center position, and you feel pretty good about having a starter as well as a backup in a true 8 to 9 man rotation on this roster. So this is looking how it has in the past, how it did Coach Schwartz's first couple of years, and hopefully this team that can get back to finishing top half of the league.
I don't think I love Giovanni Imajuru. I love watching him play. I thought it was such an advantage at times to have that kind of big body operates in the pivot kind of post guy. Not necessarily back to the basket, but somebody who operated in a compact space of the painted area and could finish. I did think he got a little tired as the year went on. With all that said, in the American, the teams that are successful, Pilk, don't have lumbering 7-footers. They have length at all positions. They have athleticism at all positions, and they can guard at most certainly at their positions, and in some cases, multiple positions. On paper, the shooting looks like it's been addressed. Some scoring issues have been addressed as far as balance. The question will be, can they defend multiple positions with length? On paper, it looks good.
It does, and it starts with guys like Jay Woodard, who is big for his position, and, Coach Schwartz is going to not shy away from what he's always done, and that's sticking to defense first and sticking to an ability to go out and play a man defense where you don't feel like a ball screen is going to be the reason that the opponent scores a basket because you get put in an unfavorable matchup. So right. If on paper, like you said, maybe that's not the thing that, or it is the thing that looks like it's here, but it's not the thing that we 100% see that's been addressed. You won't know till they take the court. But this is a Coach Mike Schwartz basketball roster, so I have no doubt that those things will come to fruition. Yeah, I think with this roster, man, it all comes down to does the Indian burial ground that's supposedly under Minges make these guys who are good shooters all of a sudden crappy shooters? Because, that's how it happens.
If that happens this year, I will buy into that theory.
Number two.
Number two, it's going to be an early morning in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. kick, week 1 between the Pirates and the Crimson Tide. It'll be on ABC, though, so some national television there for the Pirates. Not too big of a shock when you look at the rest of the schedule because most of the Power 5 schools are playing the Little Sisters of the Poor, and we're actually one of the better teams that are being played against by a power school.
Obviously, it's an attractive first weekend spot And as far as being the road team, at least you get started at 11 in the morning. So you're not sitting around all day. This kind of business trips it up. I think the Pirates will have very good accounting of themselves. I can't sit here today and tell you what's going to happen with the quarterback spot. I can't sit here today and tell you what's going to happen and what Alabama's going to look like. Why? Because we haven't delved into that yet. Now, we're starting to delve into that, and we will delve into that appropriately, but we'll see. We shall see. Look, there's one thing I can tell you about what's going on in Tuscaloosa, and that is they're going to have dudes. They may not be the tippy-top dudes like they were under Orange Satan, but they are dudes, and they will be duded up in all of the positions, multiple dudes, I'm sure. So, hey, look, great exposure for ECU. Now go in and shock the world. That's what I say, Bill.
Hey, man, it's been done. That's why they call it upsets. That's why you lace them up. That's why you play the game. So let's do it.
3.
Alrighty, number 3, speaking of American scheduling and the channel of ABC, due to the ACC championship game being moved up to noon, the American championship game has been moved back from Friday night to Saturday night into the primetime TV slot on ABC at 8 o'clock. It will still be hosted by the higher finishing team in the league, so no neutral site here, but it will be that coveted 8 p.m. start time on Saturday evening.
I think that is a better deal than being on Friday nights, even in December. That's a better move for the American. That's a better deal for the American. And I understand Tampa is very lovely that time of year. Wait a minute. I'm just kidding. We don't know. Script hadn't been
written.
We got
$14 million reasons. You got 14 million reasons to make that comment. So,
all right. So, but look, I'm very ecstatic about the fact that it moves back to a better time. How about the ACC moving theirs up to noon? And if I'm not mistaken, they actually drew pretty good numbers this past year. I could be wrong on that. We need to maybe double check that. But that was a great game between Duke and Virginia. I mean, it went to overtime. It was a fun game. The American, I think you put yourself in a little better position to be able to be seen, eyeballs to be seen on a Saturday night, which is more traditional college football viewing. Does that put the Board 10 still plays theirs on Friday, right?
No, they're during the day on Saturday. I think they're during the day Saturday.
They were at night. Are you sure about that, Pilk?
I'm drawing a blank. It's right, because the Big 12 is at noon. The SEC is the midday.
It's the 4 o'clock game on Saturday, and rightfully so. It's the Big Daddy. We get that.
Let's go. As far as I'm TV Googling it here. Looks
I'm
like
the Board 10 is on Friday night. I'm almost convinced that the Board 10 championship.
No, it's on Saturday night. No, it'll be at the same time. It's on Fox. Right. That's right, because we were at the Duke game checking the Ohio State Indiana scores at the Duke game this past year. Yeah. So it's at
boards. Right. So the Board 10 will be going head to head with. But look, we like to flip in our sports day and age. Hey, no streaming. That's the good part.
There you go. Alrighty, number 4. Speaking of college football, there's been some reports come out in the last couple of days that Notre Dame and USC are talking about renewing their rivalry. However, it wouldn't be done until 2030. The two teams have been on each other's schedule every year since 1926 through this past season. A few different times they have not played includes the end of World War II. It was 43 through 45 they did not play, and they did not play during 2020 due to the pandemic. But all but 4 years over the last 100 seasons have the Irish and the Trojans played. And PJ, I just find it weird that it's not on the schedule right now. I mean, that's one of the more iconic rivalries in all of college football. And here we are not playing it. And now we're talking about not playing it for the next few years. And I was looking at, I haven't not 100% sure what Notre Dame's schedule is because it's so whack with the ACC and whatnot. But USC's got some open dates here in the coming years, a lot closer than 2030. So I don't know why there's this reason not to. Marcus Freeman has come out and said he thinks the two teams should play every year. I firmly believe they should play every year.
Last week, or yesterday, not even last week, yesterday we talked about the ACC athletic directors at their most recent meeting, the spring meetings, saying what, Pilk? This Notre Dame thing is not very equitable. This Notre Dame thing ain't working for us anymore. That's the collective report, according to On3.
Yeah.
our boy Wag's operation, and Brett McMurphy, friend of the show, who is always on top of these things. It is a report that the ACC ADs say this ain't working for me. They're like Hulk Hogan, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother. That's what they're saying. The ADs are saying that don't work for me, brother. So you know what ends up being the case, Pilk? I think this is an even more imminent departure than what we were originally thinking, because Notre Dame is being bogged down by having to play 5 also-rans in the ACC. It's not like they're playing Clemson and Miami every year, or even Florida State. Playing Wake Forest and Syracuse. Gross.
Boston College. I think, Patrick, we got a little time here with this. If they do this separation, is this a UConn similarity? They stay, UConn went back to independent football. They go independent football and go back to the Big East. Do you think in hoops? Do you think they go to the Big Ten? I mean, where do you think this? I think if this ACC marriage falls through, I think it falls through, right? They're just SOL and hoops as well as the Olympic sports. So what do you think here?
The Board 10 will not. The Board 10 wants them, but they only want them because of football.
Exactly. But I think the Big East would take them for basketball.
The Big East would take them in a heartbeat. It's a Catholic school, obvi. So, yeah, that would be what ends up happening. They would take them in basketball. They would put up with the nonsense. Now, they would probably, maybe the UConn flexes enough muscle, they'd have to get UConn on the schedule. But, here's the other part of this whole thing too, Pilk. With the 9-game conferences, with the 9-game conference slates, there's less opportunity for now, anybody will drop anybody to go play Notre Dame. So those aren't those are first world problems if you're going to put Notre Dame on the schedule. But I just kind of wonder, Philip, how does this play out if because you're going to lose, what is it, 5 games they play?
Yeah, 5.
Out of the ACC, right? Yeah. But they could find 5 people to play. I think there are enough schools out there they could find 5 people. It might be dicey for a season or two, quality-wise, but they'd be able to fill out the schedule. People want to look, they have their own network. And it's not a network that's run out of a basement or a closet in Charlotte. It is an actual broadcast, linear, over-the-air network.
Yeah. And, the thing is, though, Patrick, when you mentioned the 9 games, a lot of these conferences are telling you get 9, but then you get one other power school, which they would be viewed as, one group of 5 school, and one, backyard barbecue state. So, it's going to be tougher for them to sign lengthy contracts like with USC to say, hey, let's play every year, because now if USC signs that and the Big Ten says you can only play one other power school outside of our 9 games, USC now cannot play anyone else ever. I don't think they will, but that's what the SEC is trying to implement.
Playing Notre Dame is better off than playing some other alleged P4.
Yeah.
They'll do that every year. That'll be their 10th game every year, and then they'll just work out the other 2. I don't think they're concerned about that in Southern California. Wrong one. All right. Are we ready for 5, Pilk?
Yeah, we got 4 minutes left. We can, yeah.
Okay. Before Brian Mull joins us. All right.
5.
Alrighty, number 5. It was announced earlier this morning through various social media platforms that British sports car driver and open-wheel driver Catherine Legg will become the first woman to try to attempt the double next weekend of the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. She will be the 6th all-time driver joining Robbie Gordon, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart, and John Andretti. Obviously, Stewart being the only one who's ever actually finished on the lead lap and completed all 1,100 miles in the greatest day in racing.
Oh, I think it's cool. Look, you just mentioned it there. There are very few drivers who have attempted this. And I think that it is extremely exciting that at any time a man or a woman, whoever attempts the double, to me, the greatest day in motorsports, not Daytona. I get the meaning of it, but Memorial Day weekend, that's Saturday or that's Sunday, the greatest day in motorsports. Whatever it is, that's the greatest day in motorsports, Saturday.
It's Sunday, but it's not as good this year because F1 screwed it up. It's still great. Don't get me wrong, it's still the greatest day. But not having breakfast in Monaco because F1 now wants to run in the same time as the Indy 500. But still, the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 back-to-backs, great.
That's the best. That's the best. And this woman's not attempting to drive in Monaco and the other two. She's attempting to drive in the two big dogs. Monaco's quaint because it's like overseas football. It's okay. I got a little football for breakfast, but generally it's going to be like the Giants and the Falcons, and no one cares.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have it on as background noise. And that's Monaco. The big dogs are Indy. The big dogs are, and we got to get Gluck next week, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I'll work on that.
We need to work on Gluck, and I actually owe Gluck a call, which I might make to him later on to get him on. Does this lady have what kind of driver is she, Pilk? You know what's going on here.
She's done some sports car stuff. She's done some open wheel stuff. She runs a decent amount of Indy, but I mean, the whole point of trying to do the double, and it's cool she's trying to do it, is to finish all 1,100 miles. And when you're out there not keeping pace at Watkins Glen last weekend and just getting lapped on a road course in short segments, she ain't completing 1,100 miles. I mean, Larson could have legit done it. Kurt Busch finished one lap down in one of the races. He almost did it. Right. Tony Stewart did do it. She ain't finishing on damn lead lap in the Coke 600. I mean, let's
so wait a minute. Are you calling this a little bit of a what is it called? A farce in a sense? A publicity stunt, perhaps?
It is. I mean, yeah, just the results when she runs Cup are not there. I mean, the driving in a straight line without spinning out by herself at Phoenix and taking other people out are not there. I mean, if you're going to have somebody do this, I understand Kyle Larson doesn't want to try a third straight year, but I don't know, man. I want to see one of the Indy guys try it, actually. I'd like to see one of them. Give me Alex Palou trying to do this.
You would be excited about that.
Yeah.
Early clicks to pick in both races, Pilk. This is your thing.
Yeah. Joseph Newgarden, Alex Palou probably on that side. And then in the 600, I mean, look, if Kyle Larson's behind the wheel, obviously I'm going to have him. And look, Tyler Reddick's been the driver to beat this year. Yeah.
Are you going?
Yeah. I already got my passes.
Boy. I knew you did. Attaboy. All right. Time to hit a break, Pilk. I say it is. Careful with the Beatles. All right. When we come back, so much Inside Ha-Ha. Brian Mull will be with us. More Inside Ha-Ha. We'll talk about the PGA Championship. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app. Brian Mull on the other side.
We're back to the show.
I missed you. We all missed you. Did you miss him?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app. We will get to more fun and frivolity and the things going on from yesterday. But right now we welcome our great friend back to the show, two-time PGA Tour caddy, golf writer at large, college hoops aficionado at large, scribe there as well. In fact, I'm sure he's getting ready to launch into a lot of research for the off-season magazines with hoops. The great Brian Mull with us here from the port city of Wilmington. What up, dog?
Hello, Patrick. Always a pleasure to be in your company, talk a little golf, and you're right. Yeah, the basketball. Been checking in with some of my basketball coaching cohorts, and they have, they're all getting close to completion with their roster. Always could be a late addition or two in this wacky world that we live in, but they're feeling like they have a squad, and they'll be practicing, here before you know it, within a month. I love most programs, and but right now it's golf season.
I am a Mike Swartz fan. I work closely with Coach Swartz. I consider him a friend, and you can have friends in this business. Let's not get that confused. Brian's got a lot of them who are coaches, but you just got to know these coaches ain't going to be around forever. Not everybody's got a Michael K. So I mean, we kind of we know that that's the way it is. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with these folks. And Coach Swartz, I had a I don't know how you would put it, Brian, a pretty forthright interview with him, postseason, kind of a recap. And I ran into Mike the other day during last weekend, getting ready to go in and call baseball. And Mike said, and I hope I'm not telling anything any tales out of school. I mean, we were in public. And he said this. He said, "How do you like the roster now?" That was his tone and what he said. And you know what? Damn right, Swartz. Shut my fat mouth up. There will not be anybody more thrilled other than Cy Seymour that if this dude can break through and turn this thing around and get it going in the right direction. I mean, there's nobody who's rooting for basketball to be really good than I am at ECU. Nobody, except Cy Seymour.
And you have to have a roster. Let's be honest. Coaching's great and all that, and drawing up some plays and scheming. You might be able to steal one here or there, but day in, day out, it just comes down to talent, and you have to have a little depth, and you have to figure out a way to put it together quickly and hope it fits. But you have to have players and shot makers, hopefully, and size, and hopefully you get a little bit of all that out there and put it together and find you 8 or 9 guys that you can count on and keep them healthy.
Yep. Find you 8 or 9 because you're only going to play 6 or 7. All right, let's we'll talk some basketball a little later in the summer. How about that? Before we take our summer hiatus, we'll do that. I am wondering, sir, as Pilk, we don't have the cut from Rory in this studio, do we? From yesterday. Pilk's got to find the microphone.
We can in about 2 seconds.
All right, I want to play this cut from Rory McIlroy before we get to the PGA Championship outside of Philadelphia this week, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but I would say Philadelphia is the golf capital of the USA.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair statement.
It really is. When you look at not only the exclusive elite top 100 private clubs, Aronimink certainly being on that list, but just the volume, the volume of quality golf opportunities for any man, from the everyman to you name it, country clubs, public options. Philly, within 50 miles of center of Philadelphia, is probably more good golf than anywhere in the country.
And how many course designers came out of the Philly area? A ton, right? A lot of them, many. If I'm not mistaken.
So many. It was a good hub. Back in the day, you could kind of, be centered around that area, and obviously access all the big markets where all the golfers were at that time, and all the people lived. And it is. They have a short season, but they certainly take advantage of it, and they have this is a beautiful. I've been to Aronimink. This is a beautiful golf course. They're playing this weekend, and hopefully we'll produce some fireworks on Sunday.
Pilk, go ahead and fire that up. Let's hear it. This is Rory McIlroy. What's he talking about, Pilk? Live?
Talking about he was asked, or he was talking about how he told the PGA Tour to kind of merge with Live. Remember, he made that comment where it was like, I think one day the DP World Tour, the PGA, and Live will all kind of join. And here was his thoughts on being wrong.
I'm glad I was wrong, Bob. I can admit when I was wrong, and that was one that I did get wrong. I think this was always a possibility to happen. And look, I think everyone knows, like with everything that's happening in the Middle East, that had a lot to do. But whenever you have funding tied so much to the geopolitical landscape in the world, that's a tricky road to navigate. So their priorities shifted, and that leaves Live in a pretty precarious spot. But again, it was always a possibility.
So obviously what he says makes logical sense. It's just the mouth that's coming out of, just a snotty little twit. And I don't get it with how people root for him. I don't get it. He's whiny. He's a puppet at best. Although I'll say he was spot on there, but I'm sure somebody told him that. I'm probably being a little hard on. I just don't like Rory, Mull. But I want your reaction to that.
He's not wrong, although it does feel like Rory has bounced back and forth across the net like a volley in Wimbledon. Throughout this whole process, it's really hard to know exactly what he's being told to say. I mean, where he stands on all of these issues as he goes forward, and he's been in a precarious position by the previous administration. Forced to be the mouthpiece when probably he didn't, when he would have preferred to avoid it altogether.
That's fair. That's a very fair point.
It's he's not wrong in that the most competitive golf has been on the PGA Tour forever, and the ones who left should be trying to do everything in their power to get back. And on the flip side of that, the tour should be able to force these fellas or require these guys to pay a premium to return, and obviously they're going to be excluded from the the future shares of the tour, if you will, that the top players now own, and but they'll have opportunity to compete against the best and make a ton of money in the process, and remain qualified for the major championships, which was really beginning to become a problem for some of these former top players. It's been a mess. It's not been good for golf in any form or fashion. There's been a few positives, but I think in general outweighed by the negatives and the division. Most of these sports, golf being included, can't afford to have a fracture of this nature. So hopefully we're heading back towards a day where 20 times a year, if we're lucky, we see the best of the best competing. And fortunately, the majors have really not been affected through all this. If you look, we've had some great majors in the last few years, and we've had some great champions. Not a lot of surprises or players coming out of left field, and I think we're set up for an exciting PGA with a lot of different styles of play that could possibly be competitive this weekend.
All right, let's get into it. Rory's one of the betting favorites, as is Scotty Scheffler, as we talk this week's PGA Championship in suburban Philly with the great Brian Mull at BG Mull on X. Give me an idea of what you think of those guys as the betting favorites, and how is this course laid out, and who maybe does that benefit in addition to these fellas?
Yeah, I'm concerned with Rory. This sounds horrible. He has a blister underneath the toenail on his pinky toe, which sounds horribly painful. Yes. And I'm sure it is. And he only played. It was so painful to the point yesterday that he only played 3 holes in the practice round and called for a wagon to come take him into the clubhouse. So that's not great for anybody who's backed Rory at this point. Scotty at near 5-1 is very enticing. Took last week off as he normally does the week before major, and you just feel like when you look at his performance up until this point in the season, it's very similar to what he had done last year. And of course, we know what he went on to do in the latter stages of last season. So it would be hard to venture too far down, but there's some juicy options as you do get down that board a little bit. I mean, Koepka at 45-1, Patrick Reed at 80-1. Everybody forgets Jordan Spieth going for the Grand Slam every year. If he were to do it, and we have seen some signs of life from Jordan recently, 90-1. I mean, this is the kind of golf course where he could get in the mix. But of all the people that are out there, maybe Chris Gotterup at 60-1. I mean, a guy with a lot of familiarity in the Northeast, guy that's not afraid to make some birdies and just has a big boy game. But I think, this is one of those classic old golf courses. They've tried to add every inch of length that they can to it. But what we've seen so many times, it's like Rory said, there's no strategy whatsoever off the tee. You take out your driver and you bash it down there as far as you can, and you figure it out. Even if you're in the long grass, if you're hitting a sand wedge, it's not that big of a deal. Donald Ross greens, tremendous amount of slope. So being in the right spot is important. but I think we'll see. I think we'll see a pretty heady leaderboard. With the guys that you would expect. Nobody's talking about Bryson. It could be a good course fit for him as well if he can keep his head screwed on straight for 4 days. But I think you could also see a J.J. Spawn type player or a Justin Thomas or, even a Justin Rose get in the mix. Guys that have proven that they have the pedigree to take care of business at the majors.
The great Brian Mull joining us here on the Patrick Johnson Show as we run through the PGA Championship set to tee off tomorrow. He gave you some guys that would be maybe some good plays as the odds lay out. How does this with Scotty Scheffler? I saw a clip and I think it was kind of a weak take. It was mainly bashing Rory, so I like that. But it also was that Scheffler's kind of a wooden guy. Seems to be, real distracted by the family situation now, and is not just this effervescent personality. But I don't need to have an effervescent personality to enjoy the hell out of watching Scotty Scheffler play, especially when he's on. I mean, he's amazing. And it almost seems like the trend for him, even in the non-majors, or the only other major this year, has been he gets off to a really slow start. I think it's happened in all but one of his kind of comebacks. One of them, I think, it may have been Augusta where he had like a tough second round. Anyway, but point is, he always has kind of a slow start and then plays his way up, and he's in contention by Sunday because he's thrown some just unbelievable red numbers on the board.
He's been electric on the weekend. I mean, really, when you look at his strokes gained relative to this point last year, it's very similar. But you're right. And Thursday and Friday at any tournament, but particularly a major, are not about winning the tournament on those days. It's about not losing it, not playing yourself out of contention and putting yourself into such a deficit, digging a deep hole where you have so many players that you have to pass over the weekend. And he certainly made a valiant effort at that at numerous times, and he's going to be in the mix on Sunday. But if he can't get off to a 2 or 3 under par start on Thursday, you would really feel like he's the clear favorite. Not that he isn't already. I'm not worried about Scotty. He has been a little prickly, but let's not confuse ourselves. Tiger Woods and Tom Watson, who were both longtime number ones, they were never known as warm and fuzzy guys, but the media would get a little perturbed by the inane questions that often flow out of those tents, and just the repetition of people trying to get into their deepest thoughts. And Scotty's proven that, he's pretty adamant that he's just not going to share, but so much like Tiger in his prime, and nor does he have to. We have Rory for sound bites galore. So
he loves a mic. He loves a mic.
Keep pressing play and relying on him to keep it kind of juicy, and then one day he and Bryson and John Rahm can meet on the 18th green and have some type of kumbaya moment, and everybody live happily ever after.
Brian Mull with us here, PGA Championship. We'll get to some more of that coming up in just a bit, but I did want to ask you another question pertaining to the world of golf, and this is that the new captain, since Tiger is out taking care of some things, and we hope he does, Jim Furyk, the Ryder Cup captain. Let's get some analysis, and what do you think of his vice captains?
I mean, it's just such a mess. Just the whole program. Like what's your culture? That's every football and basketball and college coach wants to talk about their culture, and it's obvious when a program has a good one, and it's obvious when it maybe is a little shaky, and all you had to do was drive down Interstate 40 this from Durham to Chapel Hill to Raleigh this year, and you could see all kinds of cultures. But the Europeans just seem, they have just this natural flow of winners and players who perform well and have tons of experience, and this system that they've developed that just produces victories, and we have. With the only hope that we really had to look forward to there for a decade ago was that, hey, one day Tiger and Phil will be captains, and if they can command respect or run the room, if they can't, nobody can, and yet here we are. I don't know where Phil Mickelson is. I have no idea. I couldn't find him with the GPS, and Tiger is well away from being back in public in any type of position of authority, and is just trying to regain his self-respect. So we're left with Jim Furyk of the world, and Jim Furyk he has a miserable Ryder Cup record, and is not really the type of person who's going to inspire anyone to greatness, in my opinion. I'm sure he's very organized and etc. But we just don't have good vibes around that whole Ryder Cup situation. And again, we had two of the iconic names of two of the superstars of the last 30 years who could have injected something positive into that situation, but they are both missing in action.
Furyk seems like the kind of guy that would find Rocky Road ice cream to be a little too zesty. And so I think you're talking about, a turkey sandwich on wheat mayonnaise guy. I mean, this is just not I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But, Europe, you can't, there's no way in hell we're going into European soil and winning with this guy at the captaincy. And really, I mean, you explain the process every time we have you on to talk about it so well. I even think it's a flawed process. I don't think we send guys who are hot over. I mean, I understand you reward consistency, but there does come the end of the season. Now, this may change a little bit, but the end of the season is draining on certain guys. You're playing in the heat of the summer. You're playing a bunch of events in a row, historically. And I think there's been guys who are these so-called contenders who are out of gas when they go to play the Ryder Cup. And guys who are on the come-uppance who are having to play golf to, that get on a heater or get on a roll. It almost seems like we don't consider those guys when we should, for whatever reason.
No, that's a fair point, and you're always trying to push the right buttons. If I was trying not to just be Debbie Downer about the whole U.S. Ryder Cup team experience, the positives I see potentially, if they can sustain what they've shown here in flashes in the early part of 2026. Two guys that have been absent from the last couple of Ryder Cups, Brooks Koepka and Patrick Reed, I think are the kind of guys that we need. We've been missing. We've had too many, too many guys that are happy finishing fourth. Too many guys that are maybe a little not quite as grizzled as you would like in that match play situation that fold instead of responding and taking the challenge on. And I think in Koepka and Reed, you have two guys that are not only proven major champions, but they're bulldogs. They're grinders. They're guys that would want to.
And they don't care if people don't like them. That's correct. The other thing. They couldn't care less.
They'd rather swallow a bag of golf tees than lose, and they're the type of guys with, if you maybe could inject some new blood with a guy like a Goddard and obviously a potential future or current and future superstar Cam Young, and if Xander Schauffele can ever come back to wherever he's been and show what he was shown so consistently for so long and build off those two majors from a couple of years ago. I mean, I think the pieces are there, but it's just Justin Thomas is another guy. We've seen a little better play of him, but just going forward, it's a shaky situation, and the Europeans just seem to be laughing, and they've got home field advantage, and will probably continue their streak of dominance in Europe that dates back to the 1990s.
All right, we got a few moments here. Let's get a pick to click or two for the PGA Championship, which gets underway tomorrow, and why from your perspective.
I'm a sucker for Brooks Koepka in the majors, and particularly in the PGA Championship. And I would not I would not be against that. Certainly a top 10, I think, is a very wise play. But my favorite play is Chris Goddard up at 60-1. I just don't think you can pass on that. I mean, here's a guy that's got a couple of wins under his belt. He's got all the tools necessary. He's very familiar and comfortable on the northeastern grasses, and it's a golf course setup that makes a lot of sense for him. He's been a little bit under the radar. He's in a little valley, if you will, in his season, not at a peak. But that's when you want to bet on these guys, when maybe they're a little bit under the radar. And or you can just throw all your money on Scott Scheffler, and that's probably a pretty good play too.
Brian Mull, there he goes, the great friend of ours, PGA Tour caddy twice in a couple of different stints. Follow him at BG Mull on X. I'm sure he'll be tweeting all kinds of good nuggets and observations this weekend on the platform. All right, Brian, appreciate it.
Thanks, gentlemen. Everybody enjoy the golf and enjoy this beautiful weather, and we'll talk soon.
We'll get back to you and wrap up the show right after these words.
And now, the stunning conclusion. On 93.
Hey, you know what the exciting thing about tomorrow is, Pilk? If you've enjoyed our shows the last couple of days, we get to work 30 extra minutes the next 2 days. That's right, a 75-minute edition leading you to the coverage of Pirate baseball tomorrow as they prepare for the final series against FAU. And guess what? We're going to have Mike Mullis on with us to break it all down. So that'll be tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Catch you in the morning on Talk of the Town, back with Mully and all of the fun and frivolity. I think it's actually going to end up being a special Pilk Bridge show tomorrow, where he's going to talk about card games. No, not that kind of bridge show. See you tomorrow.